IYDE is that program where you can implement the active learning style. The IYDE always tries to, engage its mentors and mentees in. Has really been beneficial, not just to the mentees, but also to the community, because it teaches the community how to effectively engage its youth and bring its youth back to more positive activities and things like that. One thing that's different about IYDE, which is really different from any program that I've personally seen, is that IYDE actually comes into the community and teaches the community how to build their own youth program. So unlike other programs where they say, hey, we'll build a youth program in your community and it will function under our moniker, IYDE says we'll help you build a program so that you can be self-sufficient. So just from the stance of the community, it's a win-win. You get the experience, 20 plus years experience of the director of IYDE and the various, Boy Scouts and mini camps and things that he's been in, not only as a youth, but also as a director. You get the experience of the different program directors and their experience in working with different communities and developing the program from the ground up, from their trials and errors. And then you get all of that. And then once the process is finished, it's yours.
The first word that comes to mind is very beneficial.
Alhamdulillah, it was very good.
It was very insightful.
It was very beneficial.
For me, it was like good therapy.
Very informative.
Enjoyed it quite a bit.
It was really awesome and very professionally organized.
And very eye-opening.
Alhamdulillah, the mentor training's been very helpful.
I feel it was very beneficial.
The training is great for us, especially the different steps that it was divided into, so that the information was just enough that we could process it and then move on to the next idea.
The format, everything was pretty structured, organized. I felt like the way it was broken up was strategic in the pace that we were learning.
I liked how it kind of lessons built upon each other and gave us time to reflect on the best ways of communicating.
Very engaging activities, always fun. And also what was very interesting is working with other mentors in that classroom, just getting other perspectives from the females and males, the brothers and sisters. It makes your thinking broader.
Definitely the most memorable things were the discussions between the different mentors and using your knowledge and experience, using Joshua's knowledge and experience. I think definitely those were a key part.
And it was the mixture of like the actual role play versus the content was really helpful.
I liked the group aspect of it, learning together and having like you there to answer any questions we might have had for clarification.
Even though it has a lot of information, but digestible, because it's not anything that is away from our everyday life.
I think it gave kind of a foundation because, before going into it, it was all informal mentorship. So it was never really based on real knowledge. It was more just on how do you react to a certain situation. And a lot of times from the training, I look back and I'm like, that was the worst thing I could have done, And so I really think it kind of gave a foundation and it actually gave me a perspective. I think that was the main thing. It gave me a perspective to work off of.
There's a lot of skills that we learned that are very useful when we're interacting with the youth.
It has given me a lot of insight to the youth culture in the United States.
It really gave me the tools I needed to help, my mentee develop.
I learned different aspects of how to work with different children, different backgrounds, different age groups, different maturity levels, and different issues they may have.
I would compare it to kind of like a Red Cross CPR training, where it's very long, it's very strenuous, it's a lot of information, but it's important if you're ever in that situation. And with the mentor training, you were in that situation at least once a week. So, I think even though it was pretty long, it was well structured and it was very important. And it had some good information in it as well.
Really, I thought overall trainings were very helpful. Concrete skills were introduced and things that I can use not only in the mentor-mentee relationship, but just in life, in my professional life, athletic life, or even family, or helping out friends and things like that. So.
But overall, it was very good. I feel like a lot of these I could apply to my personal life, and when I have future kids, I could definitely use the skills, and alhamdulillah, I'm really grateful.
One of the most important things was team building. Because being here in this work, working at the masjid, I'm always surrounded by people. But to create that core group of people that comes in as regular and everything, that required some of the team building skills from him, and it was very helpful.
Oh yeah, definitely. In my life, my personal life, my like relationship with my siblings, with my coworkers, people outside.
Very beneficial. I mean, in terms of it being helpful here in the office. I work here in the administration, so I deal with all sorts of people, younger people and older people, and everyone needs a listening ear. Mm-hmm. So having that training on how to be an active listener and how to help people not just be listening to them, but to help them move forward as well, instead of just being a sympathetic ear.
And the probing is definitely was the hardest part. Jumping into conclusions, that was my hardest part. And you kind of have to lead them the way and not tell them how to go there. That was the hardest part for me, because in the past I would just sit with people and I would ask them what they want and kind of give them options. Like, here's option A, B, C, and go and run with it. Even though I have one mentee, I also have other people I help out, and then I've been using the same skills, and I definitely seen alhamdulillah, a lot more improvements, and I'm glad the way it turned out, alhamdulillah.
It's kind of a funny comparison, but I recently asked a friend of mine who got married, like, what's different? What's different about being married? And he was like, well, everything you do, you now have to worry about somebody else at the same time. And that's what I kind of felt like the training prepared me for, was that now it opened up my eyes to how influential you are on other people, even when you're not realizing it. We all have a greater collective purpose, to where it's not just me doing what I do on my time. It's me doing what I do on my time, and everybody else is watching and learning. So that was one of the major things that I got from the mentor training.
That has helped a lot, has helped tremendously in my relation with my son. We are more friends now. Before it was like, I'm the mother, listen to me, and you should behave like this, don't talk to me like that. And
at work, in my marriage, understanding the other person, understanding where they come from, and rather than just looking at it from your point of view, look at it from their point of view. After learning certain techniques, just the aspect of, rather than reacting, asking like a question, saying, did I understand this right? Is this what you meant by that statement? Rather than just saying, how could you say that? How dare you? And so I definitely think the perspective that we received in the program itself transcends all levels of relationships that we hold in our daily lives.
Using the method of giving someone advice without actually, kind of pointing at them and telling them what to do was probably the hardest thing to get a grasp of. And I'm not saying I have a full grasp of it yet, but it really gives you a different, this is probably not a good word, but power in your relationships, in that you can kind of guide someone to what's right without them perceiving you as judgmental or critical.
The training is pretty vital in training us to be prepared. Even if, because my profession was in teaching before, so I still feel like I had a pretty good background as how I'm going to relate to students or try to be non-judgmental and those types of things that they teach us as being a teacher. But this training was much more specific and gave really clear guidelines of effective mentoring. Now I've just been more conscientious of listening skills, of how to be a person who's a good listener. So I utilize that in our staff calls or our meetings when other people are talking and sharing their ideas. And then also just for personal SMART goals, like trying to implement them within like the workplace or then just in my personal life.
So I have a colleague at work who's been struggling as far as with employment. He's really, I'm consulting engagement, so he really is not happy where he is. So he's been he's been really down lately. So just trying to get in tune with him, trying to be that somebody for which he could speak with, let out his feelings, because every day he's quiet, down, and by himself. So you try to get engaged. Hey, I saw you come in this car. It was very clean. You went to the car wash. Open up conversation like that and try to get in touch with him, so then he could let out his feelings, and then you could, in that sense, make him feel a little better, and also figure out ways to, also suggest any additional job hunts, because he's on a job hunt. So perhaps get his sense of what he's doing in his job search, his strategies, and perhaps recommend new strategies or help him figure out, okay, wait, this strategy is not helping me, so I need to move on to something.
Yeah, actually, the whole third training we did on team building was really helpful in the office. Our company's actually doubling in size now, so we've been sort of having a breakdown of corporate culture, so it's been helpful to start thinking about, forming, norming, and conforming, and performing rather, to sort of, get people on track, and some of the, tips for how to get all the team members engaged. So that was, alhamdulillah, also helpful. I found that, active listening has helped, in my relationship with close family members, and, being able to identify, common ground whenever there is a, disagreement on something, which happens.
Do a support group for Muslims who are HIV positive, so instead of giving yes or no questions, I have them answer open-ended ones, and it helps them to be more relaxed and to share more information that I might not have gotten if I asked them a close-ended question. Also, I know listening is very, very important, so I try to listen, try not to like interrupt and overtalk them when they're, sharing stories. So I do find that the training is helpful, and that when I get into different discussions with close family members, I try not to say, you make me do this. I say, I feel this way, to show that I'm not trying to blame it on them. I'm just trying to show how I feel about something so they can see that, and then maybe they can say, okay, well, I feel this way, and then we can like get into a healthy discussion about how I feel about something, and then we can try to find a good solution.
For the community at large, it's also extremely beneficial because one thing that's happening in our communities is that the youth are leaving. They're not engaged. And what the mentor-mentee program that IYDE does is very closely connected to the community, and activities and things that are going on in the community. So even if it's just in the capacity that I really don't want to go to this event, but my mentor is going to be there, or my mentor asked me to come out, so we're at least going to hang out, And even in that capacity, it's engaging the youth back with the community. So, and the other part of the community too is that it lets the community see the youth, see who the youth are. A lot of the time our community asks where the youth are at. Well, it's kind of like, where are you looking? They're all around you, but we have to engage our youth. We can't just try to teach, learn. We have to be creative. And IYDE has come up with a very creative process of engaging the youth, where it's not all the time you're sitting down, learning something, like from a book in a sense. But at the same time, you're not always just going out and playing. There's that balance between, play and learning, to where, at their age, that's how they learn. The other thing too is that we're also encouraged, especially for the older youth, the older mentees, to kind of go about doing activities on their own. So one thing I seen one of my mentees is that as we started doing more activities in the community, he started making more friends in the community. So to the point to where he was, hanging out with one of his friends, going over their house, catching the bus 30 minutes just to get over there, which they were both in the mentoring program. So they were positive role models for each other. and able to grow in that way. And eventually I would come to an event in the community and happen to see them two there, just because one of their parents was going to the event and they happened to be over each other's house. So they would be at the event and I would be there, and it wouldn't have to be a mentor-mentee thing. We just happened to be in the same place. The program really benefits the youth, and a lot more than I thought it would, because once I first started the program, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to get this young teenage kid. He's not going to listen. He's kind of going to be on his own, kind of doing his own thing. And I had the honor of mentoring students from the age of, I think it was like 11 up to 18. So I kind of had the spectrum of teenageness, if you can call it that. And I seen, like, from that younger age of 11 all the way up to 18, they all looked up to you and wanted to engage in you the same way. It was kind of like that need for brotherhood, that need for somebody to look up to, wanting somebody to give them direction. So for the youth, even if it's just in the capacity of having somebody who's a positive role model, that they can look up to, and call and text and just have somebody to talk to, then just in that capacity, the mentoring experience is greatly beneficial to the youth. Now, coupled with that is the structure that IYDE gives you. Unlike Big Brother, Big Sister program, that's throughout America. They don't just hand you a mentee and then, give you some ideas and just send you about your way. They check up on you. You send your mentor reports to make sure that you and your mentee are making adequate progress. They have monthly outings where all of the mentors and mentees get together and do a group activity. You have to meet with your mentee and your mentor as well, like once a month. So it's a back and forth relationship. It's not all on the mentor to engage the mentee. It's not all on the mentee to engage the mentor. So in that sense, it kind of exponentially increases the experience.
IYDE's mentorship program is a valuable asset for every community. It helps communities to increase their capacity to effectively engage their youth. It trains a local trainer who will continue to train new mentors for the community on an ongoing basis. It increases youth activities within the community, and it creates generations of youth whose hearts are attached to the community as they in turn continue to mentor new youth, and the process continues.